The saga continues, picking up the storyline from Film 1. This will be a 30-minute mini-film. This is Film 2 in a 7-film mini-series. Ken Hayward, CEO and founder of EverEnergy, and Ken's mother, Lillian Hayward, CFO of EverEnergy, Ken's father, Erwin Hayward, chief geologist of EverEnergy, Ken's older brother, Ernest Hayward, chief drilling engineer and scientist for EverEnergy, and Ken's grandmother, Nellie Jones, chief communications officer and political strategist for EverEnergy, are now fugitives in hiding from President Truam and Lillian Mask, his appointed czar of CATI, Commission Against Theft and Inefficiency. The saga picks back up from Film 1, where Lillian Mask had issued a CATI raid on the EverEnergy headquarters and arrest warrants for Ken Hayward, Erwin Hayward, Lillian Hayward, Ernest Hayward, and Nellie Jones. As CATI officers arrived to the EverEnergy headquarters to confiscate all evidence and destroy the EverEnergy facility, the Haywards had been whisked away moments earlier by a mysterious ally of Nellie Jones's former CIA connections. Of course, Truam and Mask are livid as they learn of the Haywards' narrow escape, and President Truam responds immediately with a nationally televised press bulletin declaring the Haywards enemies of Amera and declared $1 million bounty on each of their heads, wanted dead or alive. EverEnergy technology is a revolutionary new geothermal energy technology developed by Ken's older brother, Ernie Hayward, that can be deployed cheaply and fast anywhere in Amera or the world. Ernie, a brilliant drilling engineer who revolutionized drilling with his new cutting-edge drilling technology, has now enabled EverEnergy to drill and build geothermal energy plants anywhere in the world. Ernest perfected the drilling technology that drills hermetically sealed borehole wells and loops them together 5 to 6 miles below the Earth's surface, where the temperatures of the Earth reach 600 to 800 degrees. The hermetically sealed connected drilled wells circulate thermal heat transfer fluid in the hermetically sealed geothermal wells with zero negative environmental impact. These geothermal power plants can be built anywhere in the world, and once online, produce power without burning any fuel. Of course, it threatens to disrupt and replace the fossil fuel energy markets that currently trade in the trillions of dollars per year. EverEnergy has forged strategic partnerships and alliances with all First Nations tribal councils and island nations, as well as the EU and UN, yielding economic and environmental rejuvenation. However, maniacal and narcissistic senile President Truam and psychopathic Lillian Mask intensify their smear and propaganda campaign against this green revolution. The Haywards' newly forged alliances with the sovereign First Nations Peoples Network have provided the Haywards refuge, sanctuary, and political asylum as well. The EU, NATO, and UN have signed agreements with EverEnergy to build EverEnergy power plants throughout Europe and have provided the Haywards political asylum and physical protection from the Truam Administration threats. Two years have passed since the Haywards went into exile. The Truam Administration has economically and morally bankrupted Amera, as he once did with 6 of his former casinos he once owned before his illegal presidency. Truam and Mask go into hiding and have lost complete control of governance, media, and the military. Congress has unanimously voted to impeach and arrest Truam, Mask, and the entire administration on charges of treason, domestic terrorism, and corruption. The Justice Department has issued the arrest warrants and frozen all assets. They are all arrested on charges of treason, domestic terrorism, and corruption, and given a speedy trial. All were found guilty by a unanimous vote of a trial jury on July 3rd. At high noon, the convicted traitors are brought before the firing squad in the capital city of Amera and executed. Their bodies are cremated and their ashes are scattered across the ocean, symbolizing the complete, utter obliteration of fascism. The Lakota and all First Nations tribal elders honor the Haywards with a sacred ceremony and invite the world leaders, NATO, EU, and UN, and all global media outlets televise the ceremony. 2 more years pass after the execution of Truam, Mask, and Admin. The nation of Amera is healing from the Truam trauma and is fast becoming the shining city on the hill, representing a powerful beacon of light to the world that love, truth, and freedom always wins, outshines, and outlives evil. Amera and the NATO Democratic Alliance has now grown to over 120 nations globally, and all have signed the NATO Energy Pact to ban all fossil fuels by 2030, replacing their fossil fuel electric grid power production completely with EverEnergy geothermal power technology. The NATO Energy Pact also states that EverEnergy is a collective commons co-op, equally owned by all the people it serves in every NATO nation that is now or will become signatory anytime in the future. The NATO Energy Pact states EverEnergy will never be a corporation. EverEnergy will always be equally owned by all grid power customers it serves, a not-for-profit coop that invests its profits back into funding and building new EverEnergy geothermal plants across the NATO alliance regions, and into the commitment of providing electricity to all customers at an affordable fixed rate. The NATO Energy Pact and EverEnergy Co-op also states that all employees and contractors that build, maintain, and service the geothermal plants and infrastructure it owns will be signatory union members of the IBW, UAUSW, AFL-CIO, and any other representative union that have jurisdiction in any NATO Energy Pact. The NATO Energy Pact also states that all existing utilities, municipalities, grid power providers, co-ops, companies, contractors, and union agreements shall overlay with and not conflict with the EverEnergy Co-op and act seamlessly, with any potential conflicts being arbitrated by non-partisan board members, made up equally as represented by all parties who agree to serve a speedy decision of said dispute within 14 days. If there is no resolution in 14 days, it shall be voted on by the co-op customers in that jurisdiction. The NATO Pact also states all NATO alliance nations shall federally fund the build-out of nationwide high-speed electric vehicle charging stations at existing convenience store fuel providers and provide a minimum of 1050 kilowatts up to 500 kilowatts EV-DC. Fast chargers that must be under the main central fueling area canopy as to provide the customer with the comfort of recharging without the worry of getting rained on. Each recharging station shall have clean customer bathrooms, a mini-mart, coffee, espresso or deli food shop, and a seated waiting area. The NATO Pact states the entire nationwide EV charging network will be federally funded with a guaranteed commitment to be completed and operational in every NATO nationwide network by 2030 in order to ensure customers can meet the 2030 compliance of going completely non-fossil fuel by 2030. The NATO Pact also states that every NATO alliance nation shall federally fund the build out of all electric overhead, intercity high-speed MAG, LEV, micro personal rapid transit pods, and all electric light to medium to heavy intrastate, high-speed MAG-LEV rail, and Hyperloop systems. 10 years have now passed since the execution of Truam, Mask, and Admin, and the NATO alliance has now grown to 193 NATO alliance members, with all but China and Russia, who remain uncommitted, but who are now finally almost ready to concede that the NATO Pact is clearly the best model for our planet and all species. Will China and Russia sign onto the NATO Pact? The vision is unclear for neither, as antagonist influences and forces work to create a trio polar world. The NATO Pact alliance nations' energy and transportation infrastructure is now solidly rebuilt and growing, adding quadrillions of dollars in wealth across the alliance. The future looks bright for the NATO alliance, not so much for the corrupt oligarchy rule China and Russia, as the oligarchy forge unholy alliances that cripple their nations with energy and food shortages. The masses in both countries riot and demand democracy, freedom, and a forged alliance with NATO and EverEnergy. NATO members around the world hear their cries and empathize and demand social justice for all. The resistance inside China and Russia builds and spreads with national strikes and demand for free elections supervised by the NATO alliance. 1 year later, China and Russian oligarchs are jailed and executed. China and Russia hold free elections and are assisted by the NATO alliance to help them form a new democratic constitutional government of the people, by the people, for the people. It's now been 20 years since the Truam, Mask, and Admin execution. The entire world of all 195 nations are now free democracies and all NATO Pact alliances. Power to the people, EverEnergy for the people, freedom, democracy, clean energy, social and economic equality, and justice for all. Long live the coup, long live the alliance. The human struggle was long, hundreds of thousands of years, but it did not go unnoticed. For the watchers from on high did notice. They have been watching our struggle without interference, and now they, the watchers, have taken a vote amongst their federation, their galactic federation, and have voted democratically that Earth people have proven themselves to be worthy and have risen up as one to defeat division and work as one with each other. So the Galactic Federation has chosen to send an encrypted message to Earthlings, inviting the people of Earth to become one with the Galactic Federation, where one is all and all is one. Serving the all is to serve one and all equally. Can the people of Earth solve the encrypted message sent by the Federation? Time will tell. It's now been 2 months since the encrypted message was discovered by one of our brightest Earth astronomers, Amera, a brilliant Italian astronomer, physicist, and mathematician, who was at first unsure if she should share the message, but she knew the mathematic complexity required to decipher and break the code was beyond any one person. So, 4 weeks ago, she decided to share it with the world, with the hope Earthlings can decipher its hidden meaning and who it's from. As Earth's very brightest scientists, coders, quantum computing teams, and mathematicians work on solving the encrypted message, excitement builds. What does it mean? Who sent it? It's been 2 months, and Earthlings still haven't broken the encryption. To be continued in movie number 3, we will see. To be continued.